Where no one hates Madame Web more than Dakota Johnson. She is doing everything she can to distance herself from this film. So when she was asked about her relationship with her co-stars, she said it was so fun having them around. The three of them really bonded. And then there was me.
You went on opening night though, eh?
I knew that it was going to be bad, and I wanted that experience for myself. And I received it. I got it.
Okay, so what is Madam Web even about?
You know, I watched the movie. Not sure I can really tell you.
Did you write a review on Letterboxd?
I did.
Can we hear it?
Ready?
All right.
Call an ambulance, but not for Madam Web. This is some of the worst ADR I've ever seen in a film, paired with CGI so bad, I can't even blame the artists because they must have just been trying to match whatever was very unclearly written.
Boom.
This movie takes place in 2003, but the writer must have been born in 2004 because it seems like they just Googled popular in 2003, threw a poster of Beyonce's Dangerously in Love, and played Toxic during a fight scene, which honestly might be one of the best parts of the movie. I also really enjoyed the part where the writer must have just Googled, were cell phones in 2003? And got the response, yes, but they weren't common.
Okay.
This movie has a cast to work with, and it just doesn't. Dakota Johnson, I don't want to be your enemy, but right now I can't be your friend.
Yes!
Thank you for making me so confident that if I had famous parents, even I could play a superhero. Sydney Sweeney has dealt a terrible hand with one of the worst written characters in the script, and I just can't look at her in this and believe she's a teenager. I believe she's a teenager in Euphoria more. Celeste O'Connor is fine, but the only person who showed up on set to, in all caps, work was Isabella Merced.
My girl!
Isabella Merced.
Even Adam Scott just showed up to get paid. Zosia Mamet is one of my favorite actresses. I find her so cool and fascinating, and they literally sit her behind a desk the entire movie. She has no personality, no goal. She just types things in and tells the bad guy. The bad guy is so one-dimensional, it feels like they asked AI to write a villain. Worst of all, they committed the biggest crime in filmmaking. They Emma Roberts. I have more questions than answers, but to be honest, I couldn't care to have them answered. At the end of the day, I guess I could just go to Peru and figure it all out, which is a plotline. This has one of the worst endings of all time, so I won't even bother putting a spoiler warning to tell you. The S stands for Pepsi Cola, which if you watch the trailer, you would understand.
What does that even mean, Pepsi Cola? Why is that in there? Why is there a commercial
There's
like that?
she gets flashes of everything that is going to happen in her life, and there's a big S sign, and everyone's like, oh my god, what does the S mean? Whatever, and the S means Pepsi Cola.
That's how the movie ends? By revealing that it's a Pepsi?
No, it's just everyone thought that it had this big significance, and it doesn't. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it now.
Honestly,
To be honest, I think people should watch it because I think it puts other movies into perspective.
Honestly, that's what I've heard is it's so bad, it's kind of worth seeing.
Distracting element of the entire film was the villain and his absolutely terrible ADR. For those of you that don't know what ADR is, it's automated dialogue replacement. So if your audio is bad on the day or something goes wrong, you go back into the studio and you dub over yourself. Now, if anyone here has seen Kung Pao and you know that line, I implore you to reconsider. Go YouTube that right now. That is what it is like. It is so distracting and hilarious because nothing is syncing up right here. It makes him lose any power that he might have had. The stakes just drop dramatically because of this one little weakness that they shouldn't have let it slide. Dakota carried everything on her back, and she tried real hard. I'm gonna say she personally still succeeded, but the weight of the weakness of the foundations of this script let everyone down. I want to know if you picked up on the really bad lip syncing. That was bad. It was so bad.
So last night I had the chance to attend the world premiere of Madame Web, so here's my honest and spoiler-free opinion. What are we doing, Sony? What are we doing? I genuinely cannot believe how messy this movie was from start to finish. Like, there's literally scenes when the actors are yapping and you can hear whatever they're saying is not matching whatever's coming out of their mouth. And I knew this movie was in trouble when I realized that the same people that wrote Morbius are the same people that wrote this movie. All the main actresses here are victims of a horrible script. Like, every time they say something, I feel like you're either gonna laugh or you're either gonna ask yourself if this is real life. People are not joking when they say this movie is so bad, it intentionally becomes funny because of how bad it is. And I mean, also, I feel like we absolutely got bamboozled from these three Spider-Women, because if you think they're gonna suit up and fight crime or something like that in this movie, it's not gonna happen. Everything you saw in the trailer is everything you see in this movie. Nothing more, nothing less. This guy did not cook, bro. Like, this guy is bad. This guy stinks. Also, I completely forgot to mention this, but the action sequences in this movie are non-existent. Like, a bunch of things happen in this movie, but nothing really goes down at the end of the day. Like, it doesn't serve the story any purpose. The characters don't get any development. And the best way that I can describe is that it... Look, I don't know if Sony and Marvel are going through like a midlife crisis or something like that, but these movies need to be stopped.
How would you know if you could climb a wall if you've never tried?
I can see the future. Oh, what the hell? She didn't see that coming?
This news about Madame Web. Who the hell is Madame Web? Well, let me enlighten you on her. So there's been two major versions of Madame Web in the comics. We have Cassandra Webb, who's like the prime main version of Madame Web. She's the blind one in the top left who's always in a spider-like chair. And then we have Julia Carpenter, who was a version of Spider-Woman or Arachne. In a weird storyline where like the Kravinoff family kills Madame Web, she transfers her consciousness and her powers to Julia Carpenter to become the new Madame Web. Whew. But essentially, Madame Web basically just connects all of the spider people across the universes together. She's a clairvoyant, and she appears to all spider-like people in like an astral form similar to Doctor Strange. So she's basically like the Charles Xavier for spider people. You know how Charles Xavier can interact with any mutant when he gets into Cerebro? That's basically what Madame Web does for Spider-Man and all the other spider people, but across the multiverse as well. So I'm actually very intrigued to see Dakota Johnson's version of Madame Web because of all the possibilities we have with all of the different spider people.
We have to find the spider women. We have to find them. We've got to find the spider women. They're coming here. We've got to the spider women.